sans dire à tout.
What's going on, jerk faces? It's your boy Andy, and you're watching Nocturnal Transmissions, brought to you by the Circle of Jerks podcast. Conversation you could be having during the day, but having at night. Yes, we're back. The Rona did not get us. We're still alive and kicking.
What? I thought I was
Uh,
dead already.
no, you
Aren't we in
only,
heaven?
you only felt like you were dead because of all this, crap that's been going on in the news and things like that. But yes, we're back with another show for you this week, live, and not in person because the whole quarantine thing. I still refuse to say social distancing because it makes me feel like a pussy.
Here's. I was thinking about this since we talked about this and like why that word bothered me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And here's why I think it bothers me because
Do tell.
using a term like this is like a very interesting introduction. Tonight's all gonna be all fucked up, so yeah, it's okay. The reason the term social distancing bothers me is because maybe this is conspiracy theory thought, but it's a way where we're being forced to be away from each other, right? Like, oh, don't be within 6 feet or stay in your homes, whatever. And I think what that's doing is, especially with like, we're having this fear generated that like, oh, that person, that I'm friends with, they could have the virus, or people that are anywhere near us, like they could be sick, I could get sick, they could make me sick, and that I could die. And you're creating this rift between people where we're already at a time in our country where everyone is so divided, so it's like we're all like a bunch of exposed nerves. And so now we have this problem, right? And so now we're essentially isolating ourselves and creating this thing where we're not going to trust anybody at all. Like, we already don't trust our neighbor, but like even more so, I think is even going to happen within friend groups or something like that, where we become so isolated from one another, fracturing this country to an even greater degree. And that's why I don't like that term, social distancing.
Right. Yeah. Well, one, because like it already like I already have like this aversion for the government telling me what to do. So whatever they tell me to do is like I just want to like fuck you. I'm gonna do whatever I want. But what you say also makes sense in that because we're all very social. We're social creatures.
Right.
And so the need to be with other people is very strong within us. So this whole social distancing is telling us that we can't be with people, which goes counter to our inherent natures. And so I think I think that's where my kind of opposition and distaste for that word comes from. Also, not to mention the softening of language. It's just because with quarantines, there's like I understand like the severity of it. Like quarantines, like it's meant it's something necessary, but it's like it's necessary and a precaution as opposed to social distancing where it's like oh you have cooties so stay away from me. It's like the softening of language.
Yeah,
It's like PTSD, post traumatic stress. Before, back in like World War I, it was like shell shock.
shell shock. Yep.
Exactly, and then you kind of understood that. There's more of a weight to someone having shell shock as opposed to having PTSD. It's like this guy, because when you hear shell shock, you understand that this guy has been through some the person has been through some shit. And so I think that actually gives that helps people empathize with that person even more.
Yeah, exactly. but no, it's just like I said, yeah, it's not necessarily the act that's necessarily causing this, but it's using that term, social
Mhm.
distancing. Like if we're like self quarantine, it's for our protection. We're
Yeah.
not only are we caring for ourselves and our families, but we're also caring about our friends and our loved ones. It's and it's we're
Yeah.
not.
The responsibility
Yes,
is
you're
on
right.
us, and not so much. When we use self quarantine, we're taking on the responsibility as opposed to social distancing. That's something that the government came up with. That's saying that we have to do.
Yeah,
It's like, well, fuck you.
but yeah, no, I was trying to think all week as to, because like you said, that term just it bothers me, and I've been hearing it all week,
Mhm.
and it just why did it bother me? And that's kind of like what I was thinking. It just
Yeah, and I mean,
why it bothers.
people aren't even really following the social distancing stuff because I mean, this past weekend, I went
This
out on
is
a hike. I went out on
on
a
the
hike.
beaches.
Well, yeah, in the beach. Well, just personally and anecdotally, I went out to a park nearby with my family, and there was a bunch of people at this park. And we went for a hike, and there was all sorts of people. And nary did I see a mask on a person. I honestly can say that I probably only saw two people with masks. That was it.
Wow.
Yeah, and there was like it was like, and it wasn't like a small amount of people. There was a bunch of people on the hiking trail. The people were passing me. I mean, they were like they're breaking that 6 foot like boundary, just passing me on the hiking trail. So I think people are exercising their best judgment, and they're not trying to go out and um, endanger anybody. And I mean, and I'm someone who doesn't necessarily believe like that there is that catastrophic of a danger out there with this particular virus. Um, but
Yeah,
that's not to say that I'm diminishing you know uh, the news reports of people who have died. I'm not at all. I'm just saying it's not as bad as we're led to believe through like the media.
the one thing is like I would say is like because to me, for me personally, not
Mhm.
worried one iota. It's
Yeah, me
obviously
neither.
I'm being safe. I got the gloves, I got the mask, I got all the doodads. Just to make sure take extra precautions, got all that stuff. But my concern is like, okay, let's say I somehow got it right, but I don't get sick because there's people that seem to have it, but they don't have
Right, they're asymptomatic.
it right, and so but then they're passing it to other people. That's more of my
Mhm.
concern because
Right,
I don't
yeah,
want to be dumb
of course.
and be somewhere around a bunch of people, and then the thing that I would devastate me is like if I pass it on to like my parents, right? Because
Right, I
they're
mean, yeah.
not like decrepit, and they're healthy, but they're older, so it would
Mhm.
I don't want to hurt them,
Mhm.
um,
Right, yeah. I mean, I'm
and
in the same boat as you. My parents are, they're not, yeah, again, not decrepit, but they are elderly. And they have health issues. I mean, my father, is a diabetic, so he has that
it,
built-in risk factor, and so yeah, I'm concerned. I'm taking all the appropriate precautions. I mean, but again, I'm not all that concerned about that. I'm gonna somehow pass this to him.
and here's the other thing too that I kind of wish about all this, and this
Hmm.
is this goes back to how things are reported, right? And
Hmm.
this is the same problem with you have when they're coming up with like all the gun violence that's the mass shooting gun violence that's out there when they kind of finagle the numbers quite a bit. When you actually start doing the digging, it's like this is not. in this category whatsoever. Like it doesn't belong.
Right. Or like
And
the kind of like the sleight of hand that they do, where they talk about they talk about the people who died, but then also talk about the numbers of people infected. I just saw this. I just
well,
saw this. I just saw this evening watching the news where they were like talking about the death toll and everything, but then they also talk. But then they quickly like transitioned really quick abruptly to talking about like the infected numbers, not necessarily the death count, but just the infected, which is much higher. And they showed like they showed them this is the wizardry of the media where they show you a graph and all of a sudden they see a spike they just come from talking about the death numbers, but they're no longer talking about the death numbers. They're talking about the infected rate. And so but then people don't really pay attention, and so they see like this graph with all of a sudden constant line, and then a huge spike. Then they think, oh my god, that's the death number. That's the people. That's the number of people who are dying. But it's not. That's the wizardry. That's the sleight of hand that the media is doing.
oh no, I'm not even saying that. Like, because that, I mean, yes, you're absolutely right. But what's in the people that are dying of this, what when you start looking into the numbers, it's not just, a lot of the times it's not just Joe Blow who is happy, healthy, has no problems, never broken a bone, or any sort of like health issues in the past, and then down for the count, because of coronavirus. What you're finding is in a lot of these deaths where they had type 1 diabetes, they had they've just gone through lung cancer treatment, or they have COPD, terrible asthma, or a mixture of like all these different health issues. And more than likely they were sick because of these issues, and it was this virus that ended up kind of finishing them off. So can you really say that like coronavirus killed them when they were kind of on death's door to begin with?
Right.
um where
It's kind of like the story of the person who it's like who falls off a building and then gets run over, and then an asteroid comes in and hits him. And it's like what was the thing that killed him?
exactly. Now,
Right, was it the
and
fall? Was it the meteor? Was it the being run over by a truck? It's like who knows?
the thing
But
is like that, and it is a little bit of the wizardry. Whereas I think what we should be doing is, who are the people that are healthy, don't have any sort of like cancer, any other sort of like affliction, and they're getting this virus, and they're either getting severely sick or or dying. You know, that's that's how we can accurately see what's going on.
yeah,
But that's
I
not
mean
going to happen
that would
because
be nice. That would be
trash,
nice. But
because
yeah,
we have
that
we have
narrative is
trash
gone.
media. But
That
that's
narrative,
because we have a
yeah.
trash media and government that have um, a vested interest in keeping us fearful, and using that wizardry.
No, but that narrative is gone because just tonight I saw in the news that I think one of the first victims, the first deaths associated with corona was a 17-year-old boy in uh, Santa Clarita or Lancaster. No, it was Lancaster. It was
Mhm.
Lancaster, and it was a 17-year-old boy. But it doesn't say what if again. I think this is like a bit of the wizardry that they do. They didn't really mention anything about him having any underlying health issues,
Well,
which will then give them carte blanche to be like, oh, see, it's not just because it's not just old people or the ones who have pre-existing conditions or who are immunocompromised who can get it and die. It could be young people.
and here's why, because it was very specific why they are. Maybe it's true. I'm not. It's like maybe, but they're using a 17-year-old boy because it's a minor. They're not going to report on the name, and they're not going to what was going on because it's a
Well,
minor.
I think they did. I don't remember the kid. I don't remember if they mentioned the kids. Let me. But
But
yeah, I mean,
I'll be
just
shocked
because.
if they mention
But this
the name.
is. But
But
yeah,
they're
I
not
mean,
going to.
but this is.
But they're not going to
Because
share, his medical history.
right, no, but they did. I think his father was interviewed. Oh yeah. Sorry, folks. It's loading. I don't know why, but the internet's been really dodgy in my neck of the woods. Uh,
Because everyone's home.
Probably, yeah. That's probably why it's slowed down so much. That's before. Oh, should not be a cunt for 1 second.
The exciting world of looking up articles.
I know, gee, I know. I should have thought about this and had it queued up, but
Well, this wasn't one of our specific topics that we were thinking about. It just
right. This discussion pretty much came like is it the term extemporaneously? Yeah, this like yeah we didn't plan on
yeah.
talking. We didn't plan on talking going this far into it. Um, but yeah, but suffice to say that I'll find it later. Maybe we'll talk about it next week. But yeah, I mean now the narrative has shifted to say like, oh, now look, like it's not just the old people, because I mean in Italy where the death toll has been horrendous, but also the average age of the people dying of corona is 81. That's the average. And I'm not saying that it's not a
Yeah.
tragedy, if
Yeah.
when grandma and grandpa, kick it, um, that is a tragedy, and that I think that's a lesson for us here in America to stay away from the single payer health care model, which they do have in Italy, and that's why their hospitals are
Yeah.
being overtaxed, is because when you feel sick, you have to go through the hospitals. You have to go through the emergency, and then you get sent to a doctor, as opposed to in our flawed system, but still better than Italy. You feel sick, you go to your primary, and then if it gets serious, then you go to the hospital.
Right. Right.
And so yeah, and I mean yeah, not that we were so ready for this either. Yeah, we're being overtaxed and overstretched for resources and things like that. Uh, but again, better than the single payer method or model.
Yeah, and I know like we're way back than that, like, because Europe is in terrible shape at the moment. I don't think it's like every country, but like the majority of Europe is having a lot of crap because of their nationalized healthcare system. That's garbage.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, and
especially
like
like in Italy
what
right
was
now,
it?
they
Yeah,
they are they are having death panels because like um past like a certain age, they're having to choose who do we give ventilators to, and if like you're over a certain age, they just won't give it to you. So essentially, there's no nationalized healthcare. There's no death panels. We're seeing it live in person in Italy right now.
yeah, they're not calling it death panels, but that's essentially what it is. They're deciding who lives and who dies. Oh, well, your case is survivable, so you'll get a ventilator. But it's like, oh, this one you have all these health pre-existing health conditions, and your vitals aren't looking that good. So yeah, you're not gonna get a ventilator right now.
Yet yet here in this country, we are, um, you know, private industries are like, hey, they're not being forced by the government. They're coming to our governments like, hey, we can work on like trying to build ventilators. Just get, we just need some resources and like, just, and we'll get things going.
Right. I mean, yeah,
And like 3M.
Ford just switched up one of their plants to churn out ventilators.
Yeah, you have breweries that are making hand sanitizer as well. You have,
There you go. Yeah, and I
3M
think
and a bunch of other companies who are getting masks made and all this stuff.
right, and I think that goes to show because everyone's saying like that Korean War era measure, like the war times manufacturing bill or whatever, that people were saying like, oh, Trump has to invoke it. Trump has to
Yeah.
invoke it. But when all
Why? When
yeah,
companies
why does he
are
have to
doing
invoke
it
it?
out of their own. Well, he hasn't because he's smart because
Hmm.
we're and you keep getting these fucking politicians belly aching about how, oh, we need to nationalize everything, and I was like, no. And here's the thing is like, why does he need to invoke that when, because they're coming to him to tell him like, hey, we're going to do this to help support, for the American effort so that we can beat this thing, and we'll do whatever it takes. We'll build less cars so that we can make some ventilators to help people out.
Hmm.
It's that's and that's back what they did during like World War II. Like Ford stopped building cars and they were building tanks and planes
Hmm.
that helped win the war.
Right, exactly. I mean, because
Every industry in
can
America, they were pulling together for the effort, for war effort, and in a way, although I think wrongly because it's like World War II all over again, but it is that spirit of, we have a national crisis. Well, I mean, it's a world global crisis at this point, but it's we're going to come together as Americans. We're an American company. We're going to do our part to you know to fix this and like to get back to normal.
precisely, because you know, yeah, because again, Trump is doing the smart thing. He's not. Even though he invoked it, he didn't enact it. Um, and it just, I think even just him like invoking uh, that bill was enough for private companies to be like, okay, we're gonna step up without necessarily having the government, uh, use its use its cudgel against us to get us going. we're gonna step in. We're gonna start making ventilators and masks and face shields and gowns of our own volition, because we're all kind of we're all in this together. We're damn. If we're gonna go to hell, if we're gonna go down, we're gonna go down together.
Exactly.
Yeah,
But it is kind
or
of
go
nice.
up, or we're gonna make it out together. Yeah, I shouldn't be such a
Outside of
downer.
outside of our lovely mainstream media and Democrats, like you're really actually seeing the American spirit at hand. Where it's like it's like, oh, these cold, heartless corporations. Like, actually, they're not cold, heartless corporations. Like, yeah, we're all coming together as Americans to help one another out, as we should, as we've always done. Um, without having a gun held to our head.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, I think we got a lot of stuff out of our system, but we're kind of on on a certain track here. So let's get into the topics for tonight. Let's start with the belly aching, because we're already kind of already in that mode. So let's just keep going with that.
I think although I think next week I don't want to talk about this shit. Like we'll do something more fun. But I
Yeah.
had I had to get this out of my. It's gonna drive me fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But no, my God, celebrities are the worst. They really are. All this whining and crying and oh, so sad. Despite them being in their $100 homes, with really nothing to worry about. And I'm sure you have your couple of these celebrities who supposedly came down with coronavirus. But instead of being in the hospital getting treated and all that stuff, they're on The View or whatever live talking about it. Like, okay, how's that gonna help? Like, are you really sick? Because I don't see it. And supposedly we don't have enough testing. How are you getting tested ahead of everyone else? How does that make sense? Um, you had you had Idris Elba, who
Right. I was just
is
about to
a
bring him up.
terrific. He's a terrific actor. I love Idris Elba.
Mm-hmm.
His acting is great.
Mm-hmm.
But he's talking about how like our planet is a living organism and it's mad at us right now, so it created this virus to take us out. It's like, no, that's some pantheistic horseshit.
Right. And again, it's really hard because I really like him as an actor, but as a regular person, he fucking sucks.
He's
I
stupid.
mean,
As
he
as a majority
he equated the human race as a virus itself. Like
yeah
in his like I don't know what platform he was on, but when he was like live streaming and he was like talking about when the Earth gets gets sick, when it like, gets a virus. Of course, it has a. He fucking quoted Watchmen. No, no, not Watchmen. Kingsman. He quoted Kingsman because that was if you. Interestingly enough, have you noticed that the villain in Kingsman, the first one, he was
that's
an
just yeah
environmentalist.
that
He was an environmentalist.
yeah Samuel
And that was the
Jackson,
same. And that was the same. Yeah, Samuel Jackson's character. He was an environmentalist, and that was the same speech he gave to everybody to get on his side. He's like, planet is living, and it's sick. And what happens when you get sick? What happens when you get a virus? You have to have a fever to kill it off. And just like That's the most stupid. That's the most fucked up thing to say about human beings in the history of anything. You know,
And that's
it's
what
like
Idris Elba was
if
doing.
you truly okay if you Idris Elba, if you truly believe that you are causing the problem, then just just suicide yourself right now. I mean, I'm that's
And
genuine. I'm not being facetious. I'm not trying to be. I'm trying to be a little funny, but I'm being genuine here. So if you think that humanity is a virus to this planet, then just go kill yourself right now. And that's genuine. All right, that's
and
genuine.
to be honest, I there are yeah, because there were some like people who like some celebrities or sports stars that supposedly contracted it, but you
Mm-hmm.
didn't hear directly from them. You heard from like their PR team or whatever. So it's like so somewhat believable, right? But then you have guys like Idris Elba, Daniel Day Kim, some of these other guys who are they're going on Instagram Live telling the world how they have coronavirus. It's like, no, you don't. You don't, because if you did, you would be in the hospital and you would not be on Instagram Live telling us about it. Maybe
Right.
after the
It is.
fact, hey, I'm recovered. That would be something that's hopeful, right? That I just recovered from this. It's awful, and hey, man, just stay, kind of, hey, stay home, do all that stuff, kind of, um, just you got to be careful. No, it's not none of that. And it's because they need attention. And what's going to give them attention when, the world shut down? I have coronavirus.
Yeah. No. I'm waiting for.
That's it.
I'm waiting for one of those. We'll talk about it. We're eventually gonna get there, but I can't wait till you know the celebrities in that Imagine video figure out that, oh, I can get more attention by saying I have coronavirus. I can't wait for like one of those people in that video to come out and say, oh, I have coronavirus.
Oh, it's going to happen.
No, I know it's gonna happen, but also interestingly
Yeah.
enough, interestingly enough. Oh god, I lost my train of thought. Shit. I got really excited. We're talking about coronavirus. Talking about. Oh, have you ever know? Okay, so all the celebrities who contracted corona, they're not in a hospital. They're not hooked up to a ventilator or nothing. But the supposed everyday people, that the all the footage that they show of us of them, they're in hospital. They're in the hospital. They're hooked up to tubes. They're in the hospital beds. Giving interviews. Why aren't the celebrities, these supposed
Right.
celebrities that have corona? Hmm?
That's why I don't
Maybe
believe them. I
could it be
think
that
it,
could
uh,
it be that it's they've been struck that corona hits more mildly than we're uh, led on to believe? Could it be?
see, what I'm thinking, because there are, like I said, there's some people who, we heard, from not necessarily directly from them, but like, we heard that, okay, they caught this thing, um, and then, but now we have, the celebrities who are like, they're going on Instagram Live saying this. Like, I'm not necessarily so sure that like it's about it hitting less per se, but it's
Mhm.
like I just don't believe that they have it. I think they just want attention. I find that it was shit for them, that they were just that they never tested positive, they never or negative, they just never had it. But in a time when there's no movies, really right now, there's no celebrity events, there's none of this stuff, which is
Mhm.
where they normally get their attention. And well, what can I do to get that attention? Oh, I'll tell the world I have coronavirus. It's kind of it's like Jesse Smollett all over again, just in a kind of more fucked up way.
Yeah, I mean,
And to be honest, it could be your thing too. You really just don't know.
What was that? You're cutting in and out there for a bit.
But yeah. Oh no, I was saying like it could be what you're saying too is just that we just don't know how
Mhm.
severe this is actually hitting people because like I said, it's we just don't know.
Right. Because again, like I was having a conversation with somebody about this, and they're talking about how China didn't kept it a secret and blah blah blah, and he was just saying but no, but China was saying that there's a lot more people. It's like, well, you're talking China's talking out both sides of its asses, because and also like
Why would I believe that government or
exactly,
anything?
why would I believe their authoritarian totalitarian government? Why would I believe anything that they put out? Like they first said like, oh, there's nothing, it's not that bad, it's not that bad, it's not that bad, and all of a sudden, it's like, oh no, this is the worst thing ever. And it's like, oh well,
It's
no,
like I don't believe Russia.
now we're having things, now we're getting things under control. It's like, you're dead to me, China. You're dead to me, China.
And that's not it's like and I just my heart breaks for the people that are living there because there's a lot of good people and it's just their government is so bad.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I know. I mean, Rob, I know you have a personal stake in this because because your woman's over there, and yeah, I mean, I pray, I pray for her and her family. They are able to weather this.
And and thank God they're safe, they're doing okay. But yeah, it's I worry every day.
But yeah, it's just like, but
Um,
yeah, I brought this to his attention. I was to my friend, and it's like, dude, you're talking, yeah, China's talking on both sides of their ass. Um, how could it be like not that bad, but then also the worst thing ever? But then it's like, no, 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 we got things under control now. It's like, no, but we still need aid. It's just like,
yeah, that's what I say. And these are the circles that our media keeps running because they are essentially mouthpieces for communists. And
yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I've been watching the updates that the president's been giving, and it's just like, yeah, they're running flack for the Chinese government. Constantly taking
yeah,
their side. There was like that, there was that reporter who was like, "Oh, someone in your cabinet or whatever, referred to as the Kung Flu." It's like, isn't that racist? And then, but because Trump is not going to have any of that, he's like, "Oh, who said it?" He's like, "Oh, well, there's a source, somebody, but someone, someone who's close, someone who's on the periphery of the cabinet heard someone, say it, who then told me that they said it." He's like, "Oh, and it was so great because he made him say the term again." It's like, "Oh, what was that term?" He's like, "Oh, the kung flu." It's like the kung flu. It's like the kung flu.
honestly, Trump is awesome. I love when he he does this. It's like he forces you to like, okay, who was it? Tell me. Or
Yeah,
it's like
he makes you take a bite out of that shit sandwich that they try to pass off to him. First,
exactly. Or the whole
and
thing is
it
like,
is so great.
you know, you keep referring to this as as a China virus, but like isn't that like it's like no, I don't think that at all. It's it came from China, and it's that's and I'm gonna keep mentioning that.
Right? Yeah. I mean, diseases are usually named after the region that they're from. I mean, like I think the 70s, there was like the Hong Kong flu, which originated from
It,
Hong Kong.
yeah, I mean Ebola, the Spanish flu,
Well,
all this stuff.
Spanish flu first started in Kansas, I believe, or Missouri, but because the U.S. government was censoring the crap out of newspapers here. That the only non-censored paper that was covering it was in Spain, so that's why it was referred to as Spanish flu.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't. Yeah, that's like one of the few that wasn't actually from there, but
Yeah, it's like the exception that still proves the rule.
like Ebola.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what was there was
What about
another one.
MERS? MERS, Middle Eastern Respiratory Sickness or
Yes,
syndrome.
yeah. So I mean, it's just ridiculous.
But yeah, I think it's like celebrities are they're Chicken Littles, running around saying the sky is falling, the sky is falling. Um, but then you also, I think, you have really great examples of celebrities who are who just who are kind of exemplifying that meme of keep calm and carry on. One of them being freaking Anthony Hopkins. Anthony Hopkins, he
What do
went
you
on
do?
his, he got onto his I don't know which platform, might have been Instagram, but he just started playing piano for his cat. Freaking Hannibal Lecter, you have Hannibal Lecter just like calmly, he's just like, hey, what's up, guys? And he starts playing the piano. He has the cat in his lap, and the cat's just like having a grand old time, just like, yes, Sir Anthony Hopkins, yes.
Living legend, baby.
Living legend, and then Nick Searcy, actor who plays a lot of I think he's a character actor.
Yeah,
But
he is.
he's not.
But
But
he's
he's
great
not.
too.
What was that?
Oh, he's awesome too. I like Nick Searcy.
Yeah, I like Nick Searcy too.
James
Uh,
Woods.
right, but then Nick Searcy, he came out and did a parody song. He came out and played a parody song of Imagine. But it was just it's like he started out like, Imagine there's no celebrities.
That's great.
Yeah,
Well,
it's like
another.
you have these you have like these celebrities who have got a little bit sense in their a lot of sense in their head, and they're
Well,
just
and
like, yeah, it's like, it kind of sucks, but we're making the best of it. But then you have all these other Chicken Little celebrities like Idris Elba, or Daniel Day Kim. I mean, or even freaking Madonna, who's in her bathtub in fetal position, just kind of rocking her back, trying to comfort herself.
yeah, like living in her mansion with her rose petal bubble bath.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah. Like with
playing-
candle, like Voda candles all around, just like,
someone's like
bitch.
randomly playing a piano in her bathroom.
Yeah, it was funny too, because someone was recording her doing that. It wasn't like she had the phone propped up somewhere. Like, it was floating. It was you could see the movement. Someone was recording her doing this.
Now, had this been 30 years ago, I would have been all right, Madonna. But but
Yeah, no one wants
oof.
to see your wrinkled ass.
But no, here, another example of, I think, celebrities doing it right, and it is the NASCAR community, where you have, obviously there's no sports going on right now, and honestly, this is pretty much the only sport that could pull off something like this. But I've shared about some, the iRacing community that's out there. It's a highly realistic racing simulator of all different types of motorsports. NASCAR is probably its most popular one, and you have the NASCAR drivers that are coming on using this iRacing service. And Fox Sports is you know broadcasting it, and it's like, hey, we don't have any races on the real racetrack, but we can do this, and we'll use this time. We're not gonna, there's no purse money or anything like that, but we're gonna donate um money to help out people who may be suffering from this disease, or from this virus. And but we're also gonna, we're here to entertain you. It's like this is something that we're gonna do just for sports fans and whatever, and we're also doing it to help out people. And they're not just putting up, they're putting up their own money, doing this, which is really awesome. And yeah, it's just like, yeah, you get the people who are the celebrities who are wanting to feel sorry for themselves, gain attention from themselves, and then you have other people who are from the celebrity community who are working towards making things, hey, let's not think about this for a little bit. Or why don't we do something a little bit more fun? Or, we're going to do something to entertain and all that stuff. So, just so you got some good ones, but a lot of garbage.
Yeah.
Oh, and I don't know if you heard about this, but apparently, Harvey Weinstein has this virus now
Oh yeah,
too.
yeah, I heard that too. Yeah, I did hear about that.
To me,
Didn't happen to a nicer fella.
maybe it's evil of me, but I laughed, and it's like, well, that's what he fucking gets. It's just
Yeah, no,
don't
I
feel
mean,
sorry.
yeah, here at the Circle of Jerks podcast, Nocturnal Transmissions, we are delighters in Schadenfreude. So
Oh yeah, definitely.
so yes, yeah, so the news that Harvey Weinstein had contracted this sickness was just too delectable. It was just too delectable.
I had a good laugh.
Yeah, but
Let's get to this Imagine video because oh god, it's just awful.
yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, let's get into this. Yeah, for those of you who aren't on social media and are unaware, celebrities needing, getting the, jonesing for a fix of attention, decide to put it upon themselves to try. It wasn't even an original idea. Gal Gadot even admitted as much. She said that she saw a video of a man who was playing like a musical instrument or something for his neighbors, um, and they all applauded. And
Well,
so,
and here's the difference though, is that guy didn't know he was being recorded. He was just doing that of his own volition. It wasn't for some
yeah,
attention.
it wasn't for the likes. Let's just put it that way. It wasn't for the likes. And so, Gal Gadot, and a bunch of her Hollywood buddies came together to sing Imagine, probably one
I
of
will say
the
though,
most inappropriate songs to sing at a time like this.
Gal Gadot, God, whew, smoke,
Yeah,
smoke.
yeah,
Despite,
I'll give it to her. She's a tasty slice, but she's a moron.
yeah.
She's a
Oh
tasty
yeah, no,
slice, but a moron. Um, and it's funny because I watched a YouTube video of another podcast, and he was able to articulate why there was a part of me of why I took umbrage to Gal Gadot putting out this video, and this guy articulated perfectly when he said like who the hell are you, Gal Gadot? You've only been on the scene for like uh, 5 years or something. The only like really big thing you did was Wonder Woman. You're no Brad. The guy was saying like, oh, you're no Brad Pitt.
yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that does make sense. I get it. And I understand, and that did kind of illuminate the part of like why I didn't. I mean, other than the reason that the song was just really inappropriate to sing at a time like this. Um, but yeah, it illuminated the part of me of why I took umbrage for Gal Gadot. It's just like you're Gal Gadot is like A minus to B plus celebrity in terms of status. Like
Yeah.
just taking in like all of her body of work and things like that. Yeah, and like the only reason why she even has like an A minus B plus like rating in my book is because of Wonder Woman. I mean, I appreciated her, back when she first, when she did Fast Five.
Fast and Furious. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and so she had a lot of goodwill from me from doing that. 'Cause that's when I was first introduced to him. That's when but yeah, it's just like you trying to gather, you trying to like pull this off. It's just like it's a little bit over your weight class.
Yeah, definitely.
So I mean, I'm not necessarily knocking her for trying to uh, try and to bring hope or to try to
Oh,
rally people. I'm not dinging her necessarily for that. It's just like you're punching way above your weight class. This is an inappropriate. The song was just inappropriate, and you're just doing this for the gram.
it was to me it was tone deaf both literally and figuratively.
Thanks for ripping me off, sucker.
Well, hey, that's what I do best.
I know because you steal from the best, right? That's what it is. You steal from the best.
If
And I thank you for acknowledging that I'm the best.
but, but no, it's just like you have John Lennon, who I think is one of the most overrated artists that's out there, especially him and his screechbag wife Yoko Ono. Um, but this is a communist song. It's this atheist, no possessions, no property, you know, utopia type of
Right.
thing
I mean,
that just
it's
doesn't
despair.
exist.
It's this song is nothing but despair. Despair and hypocrisy. That's I think that's how best to describe it. It's despair and hypocrisy. Um,
But of all the songs, this is the one that they choose, and this is what they gain hope out of. Like,
mhm.
what? This
Right.
song
And
has
I
no hope.
mean, yeah, I haven't
There's
seen
no
the original video of I think it was in Italy, of the guy who just, playing for his neighbors. I didn't, and, I'll give that guy more credit because, he didn't know that he was being filmed and he was just playing the music. He wasn't singing the song.
right.
Um, but if you'll permit me, I like to share a video of a comedian, Owen Benjamin, just like totally knocking all the pegs down from this song.
Oh, thank
Um,
God. I like this. Let's do it.
yeah, yeah. Hold on, let me get this set up. Yeah, this is from his. It was funny because he was actually. This is from his special called "Feed the Bear," which he did in I think Manchester, England.
Okay. Oh,
Which I think yeah John Lennon is from. So double points for
yeah.
roasting the man in his own home. But here we go.
I love Owen's balls, dude. He's
Yeah.
he's awesome. uh, God, the balls on this guy. I love it. Oh man. Oh, that's so good. Oh. I also love when he makes fun of Bob Dylan. Oh, it's so
Oh
great.
yeah, that's so good. I love when he does that.
It's spot on
Anyway,
too, man.
yeah, no, like, um, yeah, no, but yeah, like, just it's just I just loved how he broke down the lyrics and like made people realize what that song was about.
Well, and that's the thing is like no one realizes like what when I first heard this, I was like, what piece of shit is this? And it's like
Hmm.
no, everyone's like, oh man, I love this song. It's like why? Why do you like this communist garbage?
Exactly. I mean, yeah. I mean, I admit I was under that spell as well. Um, but it's just like what was that one song? It's so like upbeat, but it talks about like crack addiction or something. It's like from the '90s.
Oh, fuck, man, I forgot. But I know
Yeah,
what
no,
song you're
but
talking.
yeah, exactly. It's just like no one pays attention to the lyrics if it's to song, especially if it's like played over like kind of an upbeat or kind of or melodious uh, music.
Well, and you have the same thing too, like because Owen did this thing where he broke down uh doing Seinfeld without the laugh tracks, how
That is
hor
horrifying. That is
how
horrifying.
horrifying it was, like and how awful like
Hmm.
that show can be.
Right, like that one where what was it? Like Elaine is dating like the serial killer,
Yeah,
and like he like he she goes into his place and there's like all these photos of her like taken of her like candidly, like she doesn't know, and it's just like
yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
yeah, and just like him breaking down like the whole soup Nazi thing where it's and when like the when you do like the reverse of perspective, where it's like this guy does a thing like so well that people are paying him money for the thing that he does really well, and in order for people to, for as many people to enjoy his creation, his art, he streamlined the process of ordering, so people, so as many people, so he can get through as many people as possible to try his soup.
Yeah,
It's like, oh my god, that's what it happened. That's what it is. Like, all it is like these people don't know how to follow rules.
yeah,
It's like that's, and it's like, and I'm sure if like they, if those people, if these, these characters like, Jerry, George, Elaine, yada yada yada, like set down rules for like some for a business that they had, or or whatever, then they would probably react the same way as the soup Nazis.
yeah, yeah. It would.
So yeah, just yeah, I really loved when when Owen Benjamin broke down those episodes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like for me, I had kind of already knew that, but like he does it in such a great way. It's just
Mm.
it's like
Right,
I
because
can't do it
it's
better than
entertaining.
him.
It's entertaining. It's entertaining.
Yeah,
What he does, because it's not just like the cold, hard, like disturbing facts. It's like he makes it enjoyable. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, getting back to Imagine and all these like celebrities. Just interestingly enough, Owen Benjamin, he does also comment on the video and talks about how just awful the celebrities look in these videos. It's like
oh
they like the life was drained. Like it's like the life was drained out of them.
yeah. They all looked terrible. Sarah Silverman looked like she was 1,000 years old.
Yeah, and I mean Will Ferrell too. I mean,
He looks like he's been like trapped in like some sort of like prison for 40 years.
right, but it's like an interesting thing that Owen Benjamin points out, that it's in their eyes. They have dead
Yeah,
eyes. There's
yeah.
no life. There's no life behind their eyes. It's just they're like doll eyes.
Oh yeah, that's a great way to put that. Yeah. That's
They're doll
exactly
eyes.
what I was
There's no spark of joy behind their eyes. I mean, even for Gal Gadot, like as beautiful as she is, as much of a tasty slice as she is, like there's no life in her eyes.
Yeah, crazy.
So
Crazy to
yeah,
think about.
so really, it's like these people aren't to be aspired to. They're to be pitied.
Yeah. Just a sad thing is yeah, I don't look to John Lennon songs to pick up my spirits.
Yeah, I mean, I because of this, like I'm super critical of Beatles music now, especially the ones like stuff that he wrote.
Yeah, I've never and listen, I get the how they were important to the music industry and like they kind of changed the face of music. Whether for better or worse, that's you can figure that out. But um, I think they are one of the most overrated bands ever.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't reached that point, but I am a little dubious uh, of how yeah I'm trying to get the blinders off is what
The
was what I'm trying to do, but I mean, but if you're
if I was able to like
if you're of the certain mindset to think that that the Beatles were actually they weren't even a real band, and they were just like a huge psyop to to further degrade Western civilization.
No, I mean I haven't gone quite that far,
Mhm.
but I just think that it's just garbage music. I don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard because I really love like the early stuff, and even Sergeant Pepper has a certain, there's a certain nostalgia for me there, even though I wasn't alive when that record first came out or anything, but
Right, right.
it's like there's a certain nostalgia to it. I'll just say.
Was it? Well, I mean, of the British invasion bands, like I thought the Who were way better.
Right. But you're also like you're also a hard rock guy, so
Yeah, but that's probably what the reason why.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's what it really is.
I,
You're more of a hard rock guy, so like yeah, so the Beatles
I don't like
are not necessarily like yeah, they're not your cup of tea.
it's wuss rock.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not necessarily gonna disagree with you on that.
Dude, I'm gonna get so much hate for this because
I know. I hope so. God dang, I hope so. That'd be amazing.
okay, just to add on to the hate train, I can't stand the Beatles. I don't like Bruce Springsteen. Um, who else don't? Who else is like super popular that I don't like? I don't like Bob Dylan.
Mhm.
Um, I'm trying to think who else is like.
Oh, someone that that also owned Benjamin opened my eyes to was who's that guy that the Hallelujah guy?
Oh, fuck, who's saying that song? I had to look that up. What about that one?
Oh yeah, but like how like well first he doesn't sing it very well.
Well, yeah,
Um
that's that's true.
and then secondly it's just how it's just the song is just like all about like, anti God and how he's like angry at God. Um, oh, Leonard Cohen. That's what it is. Leonard Cohen.
Yes,
Because again, I mean, again, I know, we're highlighting Owen Benjamin a lot, but he's so great. I really enjoy his stuff. Just the
the
live streams that
guy
he does.
the guy is spot
Mhm.
on a lot of things, and he's spot on before a lot of people figure it out.
Right.
And then do you look back? It's like Owen was on this like
Yeah.
right
Like
from the get go.
he's 3 months. He's 3 months ahead of everybody. At the
Yeah.
least. At the
Um,
least.
and it's like there's been a few things where it's like I had never, there was things where it's like, this kind of bothers me like for some, but I couldn't like quite put my finger on it. And
Hmm.
Owen knew exactly what it was. It's like
Right.
that's it. Ew, yeah,
Yeah. He recognized the pattern. He recognized the patterns.
yeah.
He could read the tea leaves, as it were. Um,
He's a very intelligent man.
mm,
And
absolutely.
people like hate him for it, but hey, like when you tell the truth, people don't always like that.
Hmm. Right. But he did a comparison of like Leonard Cohen performing this song, and then like I guess like in Russia they also have their version of them, or they actually have Russian The Voice TV programs.
Right,
Um,
right.
and then they had like these four little children, and then they sang Hallelujah, but they changed the lyrics to where it's like all about honoring God and family, and whether being faithful and things like that. It's just like, and the voices of these children is just angelic,
Yeah.
and so yeah, and then like now hearing Leonard Cohen sing that song, it's like, oh, good. It's like like nails on chalkboard for me.
Nails on chocolate. Yeah.
Precisely.
That's what I hear. I mean, anytime I hear Bruce Springsteen's songs come on.
Yeah, I was never really a fan of the boss.
Yeah, I just
So
God, he's so overrated. Ah,
oh, they made a movie, not necessarily about him, but about like the music and like how it affected one Indian British teenager. I don't
yes. I forget that. I forget the name of the movie on that one, but yeah. Oh, and just to add one more onto the hate train list, I
know.
can't stand you two either.
Yeah, YouTube's a bit over. Yeah, YouTube's overrated, especially when they try to like, uh, especially like the new stuff that they came out with, like in the early 2000s.
Yeah, it's just uh, I don't know, overrated. Well, shall we
Uh,
dive into the
yeah,
movie?
I mean, unless you have anything else to add to.
I'm good. Owen summed it up pretty well for us, I think.
Yeah, that's why I played the clip because it's like this is perfect. I don't I mean we can add our stuff. That's why I try to say everything as much in front of Owen's clip because Owen's clip is just like everything's like yep,
It's like, thanks for summing things up for us, Big Bear.
yeah, yeah. We'll set you up. You take us home. All right, yeah. Let's get into the movie review for this week and continuing with the theme for this month being Irish. We'll be watching. We are going to be reviewing The Departed. Of course, directed by Martin Scorsese, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Matt
Jack
Damon,
Nicholson,
Jack Nicholson, Alec Baldwin, Mark
Martin Sheen,
Wahlberg, Martin Sheen. Yeah, this movie is like totally star-studded.
star-studded, baby.
Yeah. Um, And so, yeah, let me give you guys the synopsis before we get into it. All right, South Boston cop Billy Costigan goes undercover to infiltrate the organization of gangland chief Frank Costello. As Billy gains the mobster's trust, a career criminal named Colin Sullivan infiltrates the police department and reports on its activities to his syndicate bosses. When both organizations learn they have a mole in their midst, Billy and Colin must figure out each other's identity to save their own lives.
Yeah, this was. I don't even know where to start this movie because it's just this constant. You're on the edge of your seat the entire movie.
Right, there's an unease to this movie where you kind of feel it on both sides. You feel it for Leonardo DiCaprio's Billy Costigan, who's undercover with the mobsters, but then you also feel it with Matt Damon's Colin Sullivan as he's the mole for Jack Nicholson's Frank Costello.
Right, and I think it's also kind of a even with the unlike a lot of movies of this type where you're kind of left guessing who the mole is, or you're kind of like, who is it? It's and you're trying to figure it out as an audience.
Mhm.
Scorsese here gives everything to the audience. We know who the characters are. We know who the mole is. We know who's infiltrating the mob. We have all this information, right?
Mhm.
And you would think that that would be like, well, what's the point of the movie, or why would we watch it? And it's like, but no, it's still tension filled, and it's like, how are they going to get through this situation?
Right. It's right because we are given all the information up front. It's basically a cat and mouse game.
Exactly. Yeah.
but but it's this weird thing where each of the two characters, Colin Sullivan and Billy Costigan, they're both simultaneously the mouse and the cat.
Yeah. Yeah. They are.
And so yeah, it has like this weird kind of oscillation between the two, which I think is just great for this particular story.
And yeah, they now I'm trying to think of like how I want to like. That was an aspect of the movie I thought was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
You have and you even have like some of the cat and mouse play with you have uh Martin Sheen's Captain Queenan and
Mm-hmm.
Mark Wahlberg playing what was it what the hell was his name? It was Sergeant
Sergeant Doyle,
Dillingham.
or
Was it Doyle or Dillingham?
quick check. Oh, Dingham
Dingham, yeah.
or Dignam.
And obviously like they because they knew something was going on,
Mm-hmm.
um and they were kind of like trying to they knew someone was in the state police as a mole.
Mm-hmm.
um they figured it out pretty early, and they were trying to get the big boss Frank Costello, because for he's doing something where he's selling like secrets over to the Chinese, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of relevant to today's discussion. But that's
Mm-hmm.
uh, and so I mean, there's kind of like you're trying to figure out like what exactly is Frank Costello trying to do, and I
Mm-hmm.
guess that is more of the mystery of the movie that you're trying to figure out. And um Billy is trying to towards the end, like um, obviously this movie goes through quite a long period of time,
Mm-hmm.
and Billy is just like, listen, they're gonna catch on to me. I'm going to die. You need to
Mm-hmm.
get me out of this. And the thing is, only two people knew of Billy's identity, and that
Mm-hmm.
was Captain Queenan and Dingham. And of course, they they ended up killing Captain Queenan,
Mm-hmm.
dropping him off a roof. It's like, whew, yuck.
Yeah, it's probably most brutal death, most brutal death ever.
That was nasty, dude. Like that felt real.
Right, because also because the age of Martin Sheen and how he's kind of like he kind of reminds you of a grandpa. It's like, oh no, he killed my grandpa.
Yeah.
So it's like, especially because like they know who he is, right? They know he's a captain on the Boston State Police. He's not just like a patrolman. He's a fucking captain.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like
Um,
the lengths that the cops are gonna go to catch his killers. Like they basically they're basically dead and they don't even know yet.
yeah, exactly.
Uh,
Um, were there any particular scenes or like characters that you really like fell in love with during, or that like really got to you watching this?
it's hard to say. It's really hard to pinpoint one singular character as being stand out to me because I think I this isn't just me like trying to dodge the question or being diplomatic. I really like every single character in this movie. Like, I think every character was cast perfectly and they all played their role uh, to perfection.
Even yeah, to be honestly, even like kind of like the side characters who were not like
Mm-hmm.
they were only there for a short time. God damn, they were perfect. Like it
Yeah,
didn't feel like any
like from
character
like shop owners to like Costello's like Dame. Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
everybody. It was just like just perfect. Like they played it exactly right.
I don't think I've seen a movie that well cast
Hmm.
before.
Hmm.
I mean, like I said, because even like we've looked at some of the other movies this month, and like, wow, this was kind of out of place. Like we looked at The Quiet Man. John Wayne is out of place in that film. You
Yeah,
have Miller's Crossing, where it's not that it's poorly acted. It didn't work for me.
right. It was just
Then
like
you,
it was like a drummer who was just like maybe a half step off beat.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
this movie is like, oh yeah, Boondock Saints.
Boondock, that was, I mean, that was a, I think a well cast movie. But
Hmm.
it was not a movie that was highly regarded for a long time. Um, but then you get this movie, holy crap, dude! Like every character, from the top down was perfect.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, this was the movie that introduced not just myself but to the world. Vera Farmiga. She played what's her face, the psychiatrist chick.
Oh, yeah, Megan, I think was her name.
Oh, Madeline.
Madeline, yeah,
Yeah.
Madeline.
I thought she was a. I thought she was. It was really interesting because I mean, beyond just Vera Farmiga being like a tasty slice. Um, I thought it was really interesting that she was both like she was the confidant for both the of these men who were I guess kind of different sides of the same coin.
Yes, that was they essentially were kind of the same person, just on different sides.
Yeah, and then yeah,
And
then
and
the commonality
she
point
was,
was this was her.
yeah,
There's
because
like points
she,
where there was points where she was even though uh Colin Sullivan wasn't her patient, she would kind of put on the therapist hat for him. There was a scene
right,
where like there's they try to make love and he couldn't get it up and she was kind of trying to like be reaffirming and it's like oh like, it's not a big deal it happens to a lot of guys
right.
and it's kind of and like in kind of in a similar way when she has like her I think one of the first meetings that she has with Billy Costigan she's kind of saying like oh yeah a lot of people they can't handle the outside it's not unusual. He's using the same kind of language.
Yeah, and it's like they were. I think the pressure, of the situations they were both in were causing these problems. Yet the balance between them was her.
Hmm.
It's kind of like this calm presence that they both needed.
Hmm.
So yeah, I kind of like that. As far as like love tryst goes, I think that was
Hmm.
kind of like this one was actually really well done. It didn't feel like a ooh nasty to me.
Yeah, no,
Um,
absolutely.
as far as like scenes go, I think one of my favorites was the where Billy starts to, um he's on the trail um of Chris and,
Who's Chris?
oh,
You're talking
I'm
about
sorry,
Colin?
yeah, Colin, sorry.
Oh, you're talking
It's
about like after the porno theater.
Yeah, yeah. And so they're at the porno theater, and he doesn't see, Colin's character, but he sees Frank Costello and knows that like that's probably the mole.
Hmm.
And then they have like this uh, scene where like they're, onto each other, and the Billy's cell phone rings, which kind of gives him away. and creates a scene where so you have Colin over like hugging behind a truck with a knife, and he ends up stabbing that Chinese guy. Uh, and
Right.
yeah, it's just yeah, that was just like that whole like scene was just like, oh man, it was just had a lot of tension in it, and it's like, oh, you want to, oh, you want him to get caught.
Mhm. Right. You kind of want a quick resolution for Billy's character because he's like he's living this dual life and he's constantly under this pressure and like if he's like discovered or found out then it's literally his life. Um, but when it doesn't happen, just like oh god, it's like pass me the Tums. My ulcer's like flaring up from all of this stress from this movie. Um, uh, and But it's like, it's funny because like as much you really are invested in like this cat and mouse game that they're engaged in, and when I think when appropriate, you kind of cheer, you kind of quietly cheer for Colin, because he's like, when he lets Frank know about like the cops and Tails or like they're coming to raid the drug processing house. So you kind of like do a quiet cheer. It's like, oh right, they're getting away with it. But you're also like, dang, they're getting away with it.
Yeah, it's this it's Scorsese gives you this like weird feeling in that sense where it's like you want him to get away with it, but you're also like wanting him to get caught at the same time.
Mhm.
And it's almost like both outcomes would
Mhm.
be great.
Right. Um, just also we're talking about how Madeline was kind of this the balancing point for these two men. Jack Nicholson's Frank Costello was exactly the same because he was both father figures to Colin and for Billy. Um,
Oh, I hadn't thought of that. Yeah, you're right.
and and it's funny because Frank was initially, trying to get Billy to not get into the life. Constantly referencing his father. There was like that scene where they're at the restaurant, and Frank brings up his dad, and he was like saying like, "Oh yeah, if your dad saw me sitting here with you, he
You-
he'd get through like three of my guys just to cut my throat, and he could do it. What's more,
yeah,
and so uh, you know so so in that as in that because Frank had such like that kind of respect for Billy Senior. Um, he tried to talk Billy Junior out of it, out of becoming part of this world, becoming what his uncle Jackie was. He was part of this life, and he ended up dead. Uh, but he I think he because he had respect for his father, and that I think he saw something more in uh, Billy Jr. that he actually even I think he earnestly did try to talk him out of getting out of the life.
yeah. But
Yeah,
yeah, no, I had
which kind of contrasts to Colin when in the beginning of the film where he openly encourages him to come and become part of this life.
yeah, like similar to um uh yeah, it's kind of like this weird like contrast, like kind of connecting contrast between the two, encouraging one person to to stay out of this life, and yet at the same time encouraging the other one uh, to move in, and yeah, just a lot of depth to the characters, a lot of great tension, and were you satisfied with the ending?
Hmm. I think I think initially when I first saw this movie, I was very taken aback at how it ended, and I didn't really appreciate um, how it ended. But now that I'm a little bit older, and there's a little bit of distance from watching it, or and since I've watched it again, I'm more appreciative of how it ended.
Um, yeah, because
Right?
it's kind of well, I would say because you have because it looks like Colin's gonna get away with everything, and you're like, I don't know if I'm satisfied with that ending,
Mhm.
and you're thinking like towards the end it's like okay it's ending obviously like after everything that went down um he's kind of alone um
Mhm.
you know and it's like all right well it's you're like all right he got away with it it's like I guess he's gonna just kind of continue on but we forget that there's another character that knows uh um who probably has the who gets the information on who exactly Colin is, and we almost forget
Mhm.
about that character, and that was Sergeant Dingham
Mhm.
with Mark Wahlberg's character, and he ends up killing him, and that that's the end of the movie, and you get this shot of like the rat crawling across the rail,
Mhm.
um, in in that window view,
Mhm.
and it's like I actually thought that was actually like a good ending. It's just like yeah, because he was not a good guy, and a lot of his actions caused a lot of death and destruction. And for him to live happily ever after, I think would have been a terrible ending. He had
Right.
to get
Well,
his
it
comeuppance.
was like it was kind of like cosmic justice, you know.
Yeah.
And and I think and I'm starting to think that that letter that Billy gave to Madeline, I think that was instructions. That was like a copy of the file of like one of the recordings that Frank left him that she was supposed to give to Sergeant Dingham.
Yes, I think that was yeah, I think that's definitely what it was. And if anything happened to him,
Hmm.
it was kind of instructions on what to do with it.
Right. Um, oh, do you think that she was pregnant with Billy's kid?
Oh, it was definitely one of them.
Well, I think it was more Billy because I think that last time that she saw him when she gave him when he gave her that letter to hold on to. I think like she was like she wanted to say something and he stopped and said, "Hey, if it's really that important, wait to tell me in like 2 weeks." She never got. But then she I think to kind of save her ass in a way, she revealed it to Colin as his kid.
Well,
Before she knew what he really was.
I think you have and I think you're right that it's Billy's kid.
Mhm.
And we're kind of given that setup. We kind of just talked about this. We saw problems where Colin has he can't get it up, right?
Mhm.
So it makes sense that she kind of behind Colin's back starts sleeping with Billy,
Mhm.
who clearly doesn't have that problem.
Right, and it's really interesting that uh, like here are these two men, and they're both essentially lying to uh,
Everyone.
Madeline. Yeah, well, everyone, but then specifically to Madeline. Even when Billy is in the therapy session, he's not being 100% honest with her. But
Right.
but in a way, he's more honest with her than Colin is with her.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because
Right?
the thing
I
is, I
think.
think he's not being honest about that he is undercover with the mob. The
Mhm,
tension that he is sharing with her, like the
mhm,
stress that he's under, that's all
mhm.
real.
Right. Yeah, as opposed to Colin, who like even when Costello calls the his apartment and she picks up the phone, he immediately tries to lie and obfuscate. That, oh no, this is for work. This like and so he wasn't being honest with her. I mean,
Right.
not that he would necessarily have to be because he's a policeman. So sometimes work you can't necessarily discuss everything about work, but she does kind of call him out on it. He's like, you're lying to me. So you're not being honest with me right now. And even though like
Yeah.
he's like trying to assure us like no I swear it's like about work, and then she kind of for the sake of like keeping the peace she kind of lets it go, but that she still like has that lingering feelings like this guy's not being honest with me.
Right. And I think that's also part of the reason why she ended up hooking up with Billy too,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
and she, it's like, oh, I still have this, lease on, this apartment for 3 more weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, if you really like, if you were, didn't have like that feelings towards him, like where it's like, oh, there's this disconnect between them. Why
Mm-hmm.
would she even be at that apartment anymore?
Right. Right. I mean, even though when Billy goes, like the night that they hook up, she's supposedly like packing up her stuff to move in with Colin, but it's she's kind of dragging her feet, as it were. I mean, she still has 3 weeks.
Really
You
dragging
know,
feet, because
yeah,
it
it
takes what,
doesn't even look
day?
like it looks like she just started packing up her stuff.
Yeah, it's just like, and it's like, what does it take? Like a day, maybe 2 days to pack everything up? Like, yeah,
And
so
even if
she,
like yeah, even if she is like a uh, state appointed like therapist or whatever, and her schedule is not likely that busy where she can't spare a few hours at night to pack up things.
or hell, even hire someone to pack up all that stuff for her and ship it over.
Right.
So yeah, man, it's just, to be honest, this is not the what I thought we were going to talk about concerning this movie. But I actually think that, when you brought that up, it's like, man, that's very interesting how, like, yeah, you have Billy and Colin, and yet and they have two of the characters that are pretty much connecting them in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, it's weird. All these guys are on opposite sides,
Mm-hmm.
and there's all this tension, yet at the same time they're so connected.
Right. Or yeah, or it's just like a lot of mirroring going on because
Yeah.
as the kind of tyrannical the tyrannical malevolent father figure in Frank Costello, but then you have the benevolent father figure in Captain Quinlan.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And then and then you have like the two sons, you know,
Oh, and then
kind of
you could,
for both of them, like
and you
Because Quinlan, because Colin was under Quinlan, so in a way he was so for Colin, Quinlan was kind of like a father figure. Although it might be, I don't know, maybe is it Cain and Abel, or maybe even Prodigal Son narrative for those two.
yeah, yeah. Well, I was saying, you can even like match up um Dingham with Frenchie.
That's right. Yeah, so there's a lot of mirroring going uh, on on both the sides.
Yeah.
Well,
God,
quickly,
this movie.
what was the thing that you thought that we were gonna be talking about, or what was the
Oh
thing
no, I
that
just
really
thought
caught
like,
your attention?
no, I was just thinking like more of kind of like, kind of talking about more of the cat and mouse stuff.
Ah.
As far as like, the tension that's built like obviously throughout the movie. But
Mhm.
I think this is more of the interesting subject.
Mhm. Agreed. Yeah, I mean, I love the cat and mouse games too, but then yeah, this duality of between the characters and like the mirroring, it's all very interesting.
Yeah, I think this is like the fourth or fifth time I've seen this movie,
Mhm.
and I like it every time I watch it. It's such a good one. It's one of the greats. I actually
Oh,
think
for
that
sure.
this might be my second favorite Scorsese film.
What would be your first?
Oh, Goodfellas.
Oh, good. Oh, yeah.
I mean, how can it not be Goodfellas?
Right. Oh man, Goodfellas is so good.
But yeah, no, this is a very close
Wait,
second.
did Scorsese do Casino too? Yes, he did.
Yeah,
He did.
yes, he did. Yeah, good movie. I like it too.
Good
But
movie. Yeah.
Goodfellas is his magnum opus. This is a close second.
Yeah. 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 Goodfellas is so great.
You think I'm funny?
Yeah. So how am I funny? Like, do I amuse you?
Um,
All right.
this
Anything
is
else you want to add to?
no, no. I think that's all I got on The Departed.
All right. All right. Yeah, that's all I got to say too. Let's give our ratings, and we'll call it a night.
This is a 4.5 for me.
4.5. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I just like I said, the the casting, fantastic. Cinematography is really good. Um, the just the character connection
Mm-hmm.
is really good. I love I love a good cat and mouse kind of spy thriller,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, and like I said, this is Scorsese's second best film, almost number one, but it just you can't.
I mean,
Goodfellas
yeah,
just
I mean, based on your opinion.
yeah, based on my opinion, yeah.
Based on your opinion.
Um, but yeah, no, this movie is great. Has a lot of rewatchability value.
Mm-hmm.
Highly recommend it.
Absolutely. All right. Well, yeah, I'm gonna give it a 4.5 as well. This was a phenomenal effort on the part of Martin Scorsese. Again, I mean, everything that pretty much you said. The casting was perfect. The performances were just spot on. They were just like, oh, everything was done right. Um, just like yeah, just like that half is really just like nitpicking kind of stuff. Doesn't even
Yeah,
doesn't even doesn't even uh, merit being mentioned. It's like so like ticky tack stuff. So yeah, so 4.5 for me as well. All right, that there you have it. That's our review of The Departed. It's across the board 4.5 from both me and Rob. Definitely Circle of Jerks recommended. Watch this movie. It is a great one. Uh, Number two, according to Rob, only after Goodfellas. So,
Scorsese films, yeah. But
oh yeah, Scorsese film. In
yeah,
the in the in the
yeah.
pantheon of Scorsese films, it's number two,
I'm a little
according to
sad.
Rob.
Irish Month is coming to a close. We got one more to go.
Yes, one more for this month.
At the fighter.
The Fighter. Yes, another one starring Mark Wahlberg, but Mark Wahlberg is more in a prominent role as opposed to secondary character
Yeah.
in Departed.
But yeah, it's been a good month.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this one.
We had a lot of variety in this month. All different types of genres.
Uh, that's for sure. That's for sure. Yeah, yeah, like kind of like your romance comedies to
Neo-noir films
yeah,
to
noir films to
action films to spy
mhm.
thriller.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been one of the I think one of the better months that we've had so
Yeah,
far.
we've had some hot films, some not so hot films. It's been great.
Absolutely. I think I do want. It's fun. I do want to check out the Chinese movie. I know China always
Infernal
is.
Affairs.
Yeah, Infernal Affairs. That
Yeah, me too.
yeah, I just want to see like I just want to see for myself like how closely they either lifted or borrowed or paid homage to from that movie. From what I hear, it's just like it's basically just the American remake of that movie.
We'll have to check it out.
Yeah,
Might be another Who Did It Better.
possibly. Yeah, I mean, it definitely falls within the category. All right, well, that'll do it for us tonight. I hope you had a good time. I had a good time. We always have a good
Great
time
time.
here. Great time.
Hey, anytime I can
Uh,
bash celebrities, it's a good day for me
I know. Right now, it's kind of open season on celebrities.
because they're fucking idiots.
Because they're fucking idiots. Uh, like, will there ever be a day where respect celebrity? Probably not. But
Well, hey, if they start liking America again, maybe.
right, yeah. I mean, as long as they're not shitting on on the system that's made them millions. I
Yeah.
could see I could see myself, tipping the hat to some celebrities, but only under those specific circumstances. But anyways, thanks for joining us. Don't forget to join us every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. ish. Don't forget to check out the library of other shows that we have. We have the Circular Jerks main podcast, Nocturnal Transmissions, of course, and Rob's gaming show, Up by Up Down. Don't forget to follow us on our various social media accounts. Twitter at PodcastCOJ, Instagram at Circular Jerks Podcast, and Letterboxd at PodcastCOJ. And with all that
Correctamundo.
said, what was that?
Yeah, Correctamundo. That's the
Correct.
right handle.
Yes. All right. Yeah. We thank you again on behalf of Robert and myself for joining us. We'll do this again next week. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel. So when we go live, you get the notification. You can get in on the comments or the live chat.
Yeah, definitely do that and stay safe out there.
All right. And don't do anything I would.